what's your relationship with steroids? Because for me, when I was first wanting to get into bodybuilding, I was talking to this guy in the gym who was taking steroids, and he says, before you do anything, read the steroids Bible. This is 30 years ago. You know, there's edition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all this stuff. And then there's a couple other books that have been written about this. Back then, there was a video done with Mr. Olympia guys being interviewed with their faces was blurry. And they're all answering as if you can't recognize who's who. You can, you know, one is Tom Glass, that's Ronnie Coleman. It's like
you can recognize the body more than their face.
Recognize all of it. What are you guys doing hiding yourself? We know who you are, but it was a way of saying, well, you know, the truth about steroids. And oh my God, yeah, we don't use them. And everybody was uncomfortable talking about it. Right now, people are more open to say, here's what I've done, here's what I've done. What does the average person not know about steroids that they need to know?
Everything. There's probably a lot to it. And I mean, it's funny. I did a Q&A in Dubai the other week, and some kid just literally, probably 17, asked me if he should get on steroids. And I'm like, no. Like, first of all, I always tell people, if you have to ask someone else, you shouldn't. And the side effects to it can vary so greatly depending on the person. You just never know what you're going into. You know, you could do one cycle and then your natural testosterone could be dumped for the rest of your life, or you have to be on TRT forever. It can make you infertile. It can lead to more risk of heart disease, you know, increase of cholesterol. It can affect your liver, all your organs. It can be very damaging, especially when abused, which is typically people can get addicted, not addicted like a drug, but you get addicted to the result and how you feel, how you look, and all that stuff. So I definitely recommend anyone at a young age don't even begin to touch it. If your physique is still progressing, don't even think about touching it. And if you're not thinking about doing this bodybuilding thing forever, then don't even think about touching it. Because some people have an idea they want to compete, and are like, I'm going to do my first cycle and compete. And then they compete and they hate bodybuilding because it sucks. It's a lot shittier than you think it is when you get into it, especially at a high level. And then now you've done this potentially long-term damage to your body just for a 12-week prep to try and compete, and you can't go back on it. It's just not worth it. So I just always tell kids, it's sad it's even to kids, but to wait as long as possible to even think about it. Make sure that your nutrition, your recovery, your training is all perfect, and it's been perfect for years to the point where you've hit your natural plateau where you can't really make progress anymore. And then entertain, what is it really worth it to you? Understand the risk. Is the risk worth it to you? Is it going to be a long-term thing? Or are you building a career, going to school, and this is just like a side hobby? And is that really worth risking your health, you know?
If somebody wants to learn more about steroids, to go and educate themselves, how should they start?
It's definitely challenging. And I think the world of TRT is different than steroids the way I look at it. Steroids are a little more underground. They're higher doses, more compounds, more things going on. I think if you're over the age of 35 and you have low T, I think TRT is a great thing for you. I think being able to have that energy and be healthy and burn body fat to have this capability is healthier than taking a little bit of TRT. So learning it, it's hard. You know, there's a bunch of people on the internet now who talk a lot of bullshit and a lot of people who are really good, so it's hard to differentiate that. But in any aspect, you can get shitty business advice, you can get good business advice. You have to do a lot of research and be smart enough to think for yourself. You have to have people you trust who are maybe in the industry, maybe some doctors who are a little less mainstream and more progressive who can actually communicate to you about it. But also, once you hear something from them, research it. You know, learn how to properly research, get backed articles, multiple sources, all this stuff. It's a difficult world out there with so much information. Being able to understand anything, it all has a risk of being bullshit.
Yeah.